everyone. Thank you for logging into this afternoon session. I hope you are having a good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this afternoon session. I hope you are having a wonderful Thursday. This webinar is brought to you by the Belize Hotel Association in collaboration with Belizeing.com. Today, our presenters are Mr. Raul and Ms. Sasha from Sojourn. They will be providing an excellent presentation for you, and I hope that you enjoy it all. Before we get started, I'd like to pass it on to Alicia for any membership announcements.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all once again for being here with us this Thursday afternoon and for registering. Just a gentle reminder to our members that to submit your lifestyle photo to me, and that can be submitted to marketing@belizehotels.org. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Mr. Raul, Sasha, and then we also have our president today with us, Mr. Ted Tejada. Welcome, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, it's nice to have you, Raul, and to hear what exciting news you have. I know it's been a difficult time for all of us. I hope that everyone has been keeping safe at home. And we just heard the Prime Minister of the country of Belize. He actually today announced that hotels in Belize will now allow their doors to open as of tomorrow. Later on today, they will give us the specifications as to how we are going to allow to operate. At this moment, they still mention that the restaurants will still maintain closed. We can only do takeout food. We can only do room service to the rooms to the guests. But yes, as of tomorrow, the Belizeans will be allowed to travel inter-districts, meaning that somebody from Cayo will be able to come to Belize City. Somebody from Belize City will be able to go to the mountains, to Placencia. So this is a great opportunity for our hotel members to understand that the borders are not being open. None of the borders in terms of the western, the southern, and as well the airport, nothing has been said. The Prime Minister did allude that very soon those borders will eventually have to be opened due to the allow the impact of the economic crunch to be eased by getting in tourists. But at this moment, he did not mention when. But Belizeans will be able to patronize internal hotels in the country. So I'm encouraging all the Belizeans, hotel owners, to get a Belizean rate. We know that we're not going to get the massive tourism that we have been accustomed to. We know that we are not going to be getting the US dollar, but I can say that there is a lot of Belizeans that have been locked up at home for over 45 days that are willing and able to travel. And I myself want to go to San Pedro and spend some time out there. So the government is going to give some breaks in that. He announced today that we are able to operate. So I want to, the Hotel Association is going to be getting in touch with all of you guys to put the rates on the hotel website so that we can start selling it. That's one of that. The airport, hopefully by next week, we should have updates as to opening dates and flights coming into the country in Belize. By next week, we should have those. I know there's a lot of labor questions that were raised by the hotel owners based on what the summary came out last week from Labor Department. We can tell you that we are going to have another webinar next week with the former Deputy Commissioner of Labor. She has agreed to do a webinar to answer all your questions concerning the labor impact that they mentioned about March and April, that hotels are still responsible to pay. This labor commissioner will be answering those. I know several questions has been asked concerning the visas, the new visa rates that were issued just this week by the government of Belize. We're seeking from the government more explanation as to why these visa totals are being doubled. Actually, all the numbers were doubled, and which are the countries that actually will be charged. As you can see yesterday, the tourism BT announced that they will not be charging for taxes of any guest that stayed at your hotel during the month of April. So that is March and April. Hotels are not liable to pay the 9%. We're still negotiating with the government to see what else we are going to get as hoteliers. I know that the Prime Minister did say today that he's looking into a small package of relief for hotels. He did not commit to anything. He did mention that the government needs the tourism sector more than ever right now. Just as we need him, they need us. So definitely he's looking at that. And the last thing that I have for now is that we have some friends who have now raised some money. And next week, the Hotel Association is going to be calling us, actually as of this afternoon, all the hotels that belong to the association. We're going to be getting a listing of all employees that actually need help. We have chicken to give away to employees. We need a list of all the employees that need help. We have right now over 2,000 pounds of chicken that we need to give away. So we need a listing. The Hotel Association is going to be calling each manager of the hotels to get a listing of your employees that need help. We will be coordinating through the Belize Hotel Association the distribution of chicken for next week for those employees. So please wait for that call from the Hotel Association. But start preparing the list of the employees that you had to let go, that you know need help at this moment. Without further ado, I would like to pass the mic to Raul, who has very interesting data to share with us today. Raul, go ahead.
Thank you, Ted, so much. Thank you, Angela and Alicia. It's a pleasure to be with you today. And as Ted said, we have, but I think it's good news. And obviously, just like Ted said, during the past 45 days, it's been tough for many, especially the travel industry that many of us depend upon. So I also have with me today Sasha Ancona from our SMB team, and we will give her the chance to introduce herself. As for me, I have worked in tourism and travel all my life, and I'm not going to say how many years, but it's a lot of years. I have to tell you, the last employment that I have, the last job that I have was with Expedia, and in Expedia I was in charge of the relationship with travel bureaus, ministries of tourism, governments, etc., including the BTB, and that's how I came to know about the travel industry in your great country. And as for the Hotel Association, great initiatives. I have to tell you that it's one of the associations that has the most initiative that I have seen, including giving us the opportunity to be here today. Go ahead, Sacha, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting us, the Belize Hotel Association. For us, it's a pleasure to share what we see as a trend for travel industry. My name is Sasha. I've been working for this amazing industry for a while. My previous role was in Orbitz. I was working for Orbitz a long time ago, and I've been in Sojourn for 4 years. I'm responsible for the small and medium business division. We work very close with hotels on implement marketing strategy, drive more bookings to their own site, and working very close with them with attraction and services companies also. And very happy to be here with you and share a little bit of what we see according to our data. Thanks, Raul.
You're welcome, Sasha. Okay, so let's go through the agenda. We first going to offer you a small overview of what is Sojourn, what we do and how we do it, and what is it has become one of the best tools for marketing for the travel industry, including an opportunity for the BTB or for Belize for that matter, right? Then we're going to talk about COVID-19 and what we know so far in terms of how it's affected the region. And the region in particular is we're going to go on a global level, and then we're going to go to a regional level, and all the way to how it's impacted the travel industry in Belize. And then we're going to offer a summary. No conclusions, because obviously it will be adventurous to say what is going to happen. But what we're going to offer is a reference of what we know compared to similar pandemics in the past, right? And you will see how interesting it is to see that the behavior of this instance or this pandemic is very similar in many ways to what happened in 2003 with the SARS. However, we have to again be clear that the two pandemics have very distinctive ways of disperse. So please take that into account. All right. So Sojourn is a global company, and we have more than 10,000 clients around the world, most of them in the travel industry. We have 13 locations in key markets, and at the moment, we have more than 10 years in the market, right? And hopefully, we're going to remain for many, many more years to come. And so, what we do is that we identify relevant audiences or relevant traffic, right? Relevant traffic, and we identify that traffic in real time. This is very important. Real time is important because when somebody is looking to travel to certain destination, we can identify that user, and we can start targeting that user for future travel to the Latin American region, right? And in this case in particular, we can influence, we can leverage that traffic to benefit Belize. And we work with many clients in around the world. This is just a sample of the clients that we have in the Latin American region. Now we have a relationship with DMOs, like for example, ProColombia, Visit Baja California, Los Cabos, Colima. We also have hotels or in hotel chains working with us. In the case of Intercontinental Hotels for Latin America, we also work with them, Latin America. And of course, most of what we do is working with the independent hotels. So how do we do that? How do we help hotels? How do we help the travel industry? What we do is we partner with great brands, great travel brands around the globe. Some of those brands are airlines, OTAs, data aggregators for travel, meta searches, car rentals, hotel providers, obviously, hotel providers, and other type of travel-related companies like luxury, cruises, etc., etc., etc. So what we do is we connect with these platforms through an API, an application, and we extract the data from their travel sites, from their websites. So now we got all this data, and we identify touch points. What is a touch point? One person can do up to 65 searches before they make the decision to travel anywhere in the world. They first start with one country in mind. They may change 2 or 3 times their mind, sometimes even more than that, as to where they want to go. That's the dreaming period. And during that dreaming period, there are many, many searches, right? So each one of those searches is a touch point. So in North America alone, we have close to 2 billion touch points. People interacting with different travel platforms, different travel websites, and we get that data and we ingest that data to produce what we call audiences. Now, for Belize, this is very important because we can position Belize anywhere in the world. It can be in Europe, it can be in Asia Pacific, it can be in North America. For Belize, some of the most important market feeders are located, obviously, in North America and in Eastern Europe. and Western Europe, I'm sorry, in such as the case of UK. But again, we have done some work to position Belize in some other regions, like for example, in South America. And this is what we do in South America. We also have millions of touch points in Central and South America. So we can create what we call audiences for regional travel, right? People from the region that are looking to travel somewhere in Central America or within South America, right? Within the Latin American region. What is our advantage? Our advantage is that we can see what is happening at certain website, travel website, right? We can also see what is happening for that same user when he's going to another website. So in the case of a hotelier or travel company in Belize, that travel company can see only what is happening in their website, while we have more reach and more opportunities to see what that same user is doing somewhere else, right? And for hoteliers in Belize, you can see what conversions you are getting, but you don't know if that person visit your website. You can see that, but you don't know if that person end up buying their travel somewhere else. Like for example, it could be an OTA and a meta search engine. Like for example, a meta search engine is like for example TripAdvisor, Trivago. Those are examples of meta search. Examples of OTAs, obviously Booking.com, Expedia, Orbis, Travelocity, etc., right? So this represents a great advantage for the hoteliers in Belize. Why? Because we can give you business intelligence that can help you hone and chart your marketing strategy. At the end, we know where the booking landed for any specific business, right? So again, with all that data and capability and visibility, what we do is we build buckets of audiences, right? A bucket of audience can be family. For example, Costa Rica is great in looking for family travels to their country. So they are very interested in family because they want to develop that specific niche or that specific audience, right? For others, like for example, Colombia is looking for frequent travelers. In what sense, frequent travelers? People who travel often to South America, but are not taking in consideration Colombia. So for Colombia, there is a great opportunity. That person is already flying or traveling to South America, Ecuador, Argentina, Brazil, other locations, but it's not taking into consideration Colombia. So we can help Colombia reach that audience and start positioning their country to compete for the same client before other countries, right? Another great thing that we can do especially for certain regions within Belize, is we can bring luxury customers to your door, right? Luxury customers to your door. Whether or not those customers are looking for Belize or looking for somewhere else. Like, for example, there are luxury travelers going to certain hotels in Panama that are 5 stars and plus. We can present Belize as an opportunity to position the travel destinations, luxury travel destinations within Belize. And so how do we do that? We use the web, obviously, digital marketing, which is great now, and what 70% of all people is using at the moment, right? And so we identify that traveler, whether they are in their smartphones or they are in their tablets or laptop or desktop. We know that that person is one and the same. So a person can start their travel or their path to purchase or their travel to purchase, right? Their search in one device and finish in another. But we can follow that person throughout their path to purchase and present different messaging according to that stage. Let me give you an example. For example, one person getting for the first time to do a search and they are favoring Costa Rica. At that moment, right, in their smartphone, I can start presenting branding or messaging regarding Belize as an opportunity for that person to change their mind, right? As that person goes to all the way to the bottom of the funnel, right? For example, already looking for hotels in Belize, we can help you as a hotel delivering your message of or your value proposition so you can get that person already at the bottom of the funnel. When the person is trying to search, is already searching in the booking engine, right? In somebody else booking engine. But if that person, if that hotel doesn't have a marketing strategy, another hotel may steal that share, may steal that conversion. That's what I'm trying to say. And obviously, we have many other channels. For example, if we want to show video, we can use YouTube, native, like, for example, sites like the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, MSNBC. They all have within their website the structure to allow you or hotels or destinations to position the branding. And the good thing about it is that those ads don't look or feel at all like an ad. It's part of the structure of the website. That's what is called native. And who is better in programmatic than Sawyer for travel? No one. At this moment, I think Sawyer really has a competitive edge over anyone else, apart from many other aspects. One of the most important aspects, and this is very, very important for Belize, is the fact that we provide solutions that help you in converting that traveler directly to your website. This is very important for you, again, because this is money that goes directly to your bottom line, right? It's profit on steroids. Many other providers, like for example, meta searches and OTAs, will take your money. Of course, I think Belize and the whole region needs all the help we can get, but you have to take this into account. You are going to be paying to the OTA for the advertising, and on top of that, you're going to have to pay OTA or meta search, you're going to have to pay for the commission. So whatever cost, whatever investment you make on any of those channels, you're going to end up paying, apart from the cost, a percentage for commission, right? In this case, you are advertising your brand and you are bringing people to your site, to your website. So more opportunities for you to convert. The only thing that you need to be careful is rate parity. This is very important. Again, I cannot stress it more. Why? Because if you are offering a better rate in any OTA or meta search, that means that most probably the person will see your ad or will see the ad for Belize, but will go and book that room with the OTA or with the meta search, right? So you have to be careful with that, or you need to have a very good strategy for rate parity and demand from third-party sites not to lower your rates, because they do it sometimes, part of their strategy. OTAs, meta searches understand that it's better to get a 15% commission than a 20 or a 25 commission, so they sacrifice certain margin to lower your rates. All you have to do is talk to them and tell them, we don't want you to do that, right? Even though you have rate parity, they lower the rate because what they do is they reduce the rate on their systems to sacrifice part or of their own commission. So all you need to do is stop the practice. I want to compete on the same level. So this is important for profit, especially now that you, as an hotelier, as a travel industry person, you are traveling to recover as much as possible from what you already lost. So let's talk about COVID. Is a global pandemic, right? Every country has reacted differently, and in the case of the major markets for Belize, there are mixed opportunities. Right now, the low-hanging fruit is the United States. Why? Because 15 states are ready to open by tomorrow, about 8, and by the end of the week, the first week of May, another 7. So a total of 15, and then after that, every week they're going to be releasing from 10 to 15 more states in order to restart the economy in the United States. So that's good news for you, because all airlines at this moment are pretty much paralyzed, but they're going to be ready to go as early as May 15th. So this is a great opportunity, especially because the Prime Minister already, the Belize Prime Minister already announced that he's going to be opening the market for opportunities. So good timing for Belize. It all started in January. And in January, what happened is that most markets, and I'm talking about global markets like Asia Pacific, China, Eastern and Middle East, Europe and Middle East, Latin America, United States, Canada, and other important markets, we're ahead of the curve in terms of travel searches. Now, you're going to ask me, I don't want to hear about travel searches. I want to know what is being sold. Well, take into account that the curve for travel searches is directly correlated to conversions. And why is that? Because think about it. You are not going to go to any website to look for travel or for any product for that matter, unless you are interested in buying it, right? And that's why that curve of searches is pretty much, and you will see, and as the presentation progresses, you will see that, right? So everything was okay until pretty much March arrived, and I'm not going to say that everything was okay, because China, where the virus originated, right, was already in a speed curve, in a speed down a spiral curve of losses, right? So the people obviously, and this is what we call travel intent searches. Travel searches is travel intent because people have an intention to buy or to travel somewhere. So people pretty much lost interest in China, and this curve, this curve of losses lasted more or less 8 to 10 weeks. 8 to 10 weeks in the case of China, right? But coronavirus didn't come all at once to all regions. It was traveling. So first in China, which the origin was in China, and then Asia Pacific. In blue, you can see that was the second market to come down crashing. And then, of course, it went to Europe. And then in Europe, it started the down curve, right? But in the United States and Latin America, it wasn't declared until later. So you can see that when all the markets were closed, people were still looking, and actually Latin America and the United States gained. It was opposite. It was going up because people were taking advantage of the announcement that the airlines made that they are not going to charge anyone for changes in their travel plans, in their travel itineraries. So people were allowed to change those tickets for the future, or to cancel them, or without having any kind of fees or penalty, unless, of course, there was a change in pricing, right? So far so good for Latin America. All markets are closed. People are still looking where to go, because remember something: people will always travel. That's extremely important. People will always travel. But the week of March 21st, the week prior, the week of March 8th, Donald Trump announced that he's going to close the country and imposing certain regulations for shelter in place, right? People couldn't leave their homes, couldn't travel, cannot travel still. And of course, all that traffic of searches for Latin America and the United States came down crashing. It's only natural. Now the whole world is closed. So let's take a trip through history, or through time, if you will, and see how during the every 2 weeks we've been monitoring what is happening. And we see that still on the week of March 29 is down, April 5th is down, but it's starting to stabilize, right? It's a little bit more stable. It's not that at high speed like before. This is the week ending on April 12th. And on the week ending April 26th, for the very first time, after almost 8 weeks, 10 weeks, right? We start seeing an upward curve. Now, what this means is finally we are seeing light at the end of the tunnel. Why we say that? Let's put a reference here. Let's put it in relation to the last pandemic that happens in the world, in some important markets in the world. And we are talking about the SARS in China. And so markets like Beijing, Hong Kong, Shanghai, Guangdong, etc., were affected by a pandemic. And you can see the period of time and even the dates are very similar to what's going on nowadays with COVID-19. So it started pretty much affecting these markets on the same dates that it started affecting Latin America, or in this case, Central America, right? So around the first week of March. And from there, it took 3 months to pretty much dissipate the first effect, the first effect, and to get to that upward curve about 3 months, 12 weeks to go up on upward. But then from there, another 3 months to pretty much come out. And in some instances, some of these markets came out gaining, increasing more than what they had when they first started. That's the case of Hong Kong, for example, and Shanghai, right? So as you can see here, at 6 months plus, those markets were totally recovered and over or gaining more than before the pandemic. Now, again, this is just reference. We see similarities. It's the same family of viruses or pandemics. Is what they call a coronavirus. They are both coronavirus, and in that case, it was called SARS. In this case, it's called COVID-19. Okay, so at this moment, I'm gonna leave you with Sasha, and at the end of the presentation, we're gonna leave some room to take questions and being able to interact with you and answering those questions. Sasha.
Thank you so much, Raul. He already spoke about global trends, and we are going to be a little bit more focused on what's happening in Central America. As Raul mentioned, it's very important to know what is the travelers intend to travel to your destinations. We know that the current situation is affecting short-term travels or trips, but what we have seen is a very good number on searches and flight bookings for the future. So here we are showing a chart to compare different markets in Central America. You can see the first destination, that is Belize. We have everything in green is what we have last year versus this year. So the searches, the flight searches during January and February were above last year, but after this COVID situation starts going down versus last year. But what we've seen week over week is that the flight searches are getting better. We can see that it's the same on every Central America and Latin America destinations. We can see that the same on March 15, March 20, depending of the country. We can see how the flight searches are going down. So it's very important. This is what our data worldwide level is telling us. The worldwide flight searches to arrive to each destination, how has been changing week over week versus last year. In the next slide, we are going to see the flight searches for future. The prior chart was based on booking date. So that means that travelers were searching flights on this specific moment for traveling in the future. And now we are seeing when want to travel, the people that is searching at this moment flights for Central America. We can see that in this chart that Belize has very good flight searches for traveling in August. Costa Rica has a very good flight searches for traveling in January. Also, Guatemala or El Salvador show different and better flight searches for traveling in February. With this information, this will be very helpful for you on see what travelers are looking for and start having your marketing strategies and rate strategies and promotion strategies for the future. You can see that this is a very similar pattern per country. And on the right chart, we can see bi-weekly or bi-weekly flight searches per country. For example, during the last 14 days, Belize got more flight searches for traveling on August, and Costa Rica had for traveling on January, and El Salvador had for traveling on February. So what we've seen is a very good sign that people want to travel. Of course, they cannot do now, but they are already planning their trips for future. The good thing is we see for Nicaragua, Honduras, and Salvador, green line for December or January and February. That means that we have more flight searches for traveling those months versus last year. So the panorama is much better, of course, after August in advance for most of the destinations, except Salvador, that is more for December in advance. But the good news is that people is searching and is doing flight searches for traveling to Central America. In the next slide, we are going to review the bookings, flight bookings, because it's very important to see, as Raul mentioned, that we need to see where is going to, or when is going to travel the traveler, but what is real booking. I'm searching for traveling on August, but I'm going to book for November because I found a very good rate for that specific month. So in this case, this is based on booking date. We see the March and April were very low versus last year in terms of flight bookings because we got this COVID pandemic. But in the next slide, we will see the flight future bookings per destination. So we have, for example, that Costa Rica has bookings on February. If we compare these flight future bookings versus flight future search, we can see that the highest searches for Costa Rica were January, but the bookings are on February. And why? This could be because they have a very good rates or promotions or availability for those specific months. So what we can recommend at this moment is the good news is we still have flight searches for future bookings month by month. You can see the curve that after August start going up, the flight searches and flight bookings per destination. So people is looking for traveling in the future. And the most important thing, people is booking flights for traveling for future. So the most important thing is that we already see bookings coming from worldwide level. And the most important thing is that you as hotels are aligned to this trend that we see from the travelers on real time. The data that Sojourn has is on real time. So everything what we've seen has been during this time. So it's very recently, and we can compare the real trends. On the right chart, we can see bi-weekly over bi-weekly comparing the bookings. For example, for more than 30 days, the last 30 days, we got more bookings for Belize for October. But these past 15 days, we got bookings for December. So as you can see, comparing this chart will help you to get the right strategies already placed in your site, in your rates structure, and you can start optimizing the searches and bookings that we have seen in the market and Central America in general. Okay.
Well, thank you, Sasha. Thank you for those insights. So what have we learned today? First of all, COVID is a global pandemic and is a disruptor of travel everywhere in the world. But as the pandemic advances, it's being affecting different markets or different regions around the world. It didn't come all at once. And in Central America, of course, it's being affecting searches and affecting bookings, right? One thing that you need to take into account is the booking of opportunity, the window of opportunity, the booking window, right? And you hoteliers and airline people and travel people understand this very well. People looking for a product, especially travel, for sure they will be traveling in the future, not immediately, right? Short span searches or bookings in short time are more for business, right? For business. So I am a business person and I know that I have to go to Belize. I will probably wait 1 week before my trip in order to make my booking, to buy my ticket. But if I am a family and I'm traveling with my kids, right? Or I am a couple and I'm traveling for vacation, most probably I'm gonna buy 3 months into the future, right? That's called booking window. And the booking window for Belize is 30 to 90 days. 30 to 90 days. So what this means is this. If Belize is trying to open its market to the world, you need to start doing something, some kind of promotion, campaign, advertising your hotels, your company, your travel company, your activities to affect the period starting 30 days in the future. The quicker you do this, the quicker Belize does this, right? The quicker you're gonna recover into August, September, October, November, and December, and recover some of the losses that you have experienced during the past 45 days. It's being brutal. But there is still hope for you to recover at least the months of August, September, October, November, make some kind of impact to come ahead or to gain or regain some of the losses that you have had, right? So booking window is especially important here in this part of the of your planning. You need to do something pretty much immediately. The latest you wait, the most you're gonna lose going forward. And Sacha?
Yeah, just a reminder, Sojourn is a travel demand engine. We have been working over a decade, focused on travel, data and marketing. So we have been working with hotels for the last 6 years, working with them for optimize their brand position, for driving more traffic and then more bookings through their own website. The idea is working very close together with properties, attractions companies, and give them the opportunity to take advantage of the technology to be able to identify and be in front of the potential customer and get more direct bookings. We know how much important is the e-commerce and the e-business. So we want you to provide the better technology for doing that. And we have a very, very good plans for small and medium hotels. Sojourn knows that marketing sometimes is a very good tool, but sometimes could be a little bit expensive. That's why Sojourn has been created a very good plans for small and boutique hotels, small chains, to provide them the opportunity to work with us and not paying a lot of spend on marketing. So we already have hotels working with us directly, and we will love to have the opportunity to talk to you and see what we can do for you and what we can create a specific for you to help you especially at this moment.
What can be better than direct bookings? Absolutely. So we are right on time. We want to close here. So to give you the opportunity to ask questions, Angela?
Yes, I do see that we have 2 questions in the chat already. The first one is from Janet. She says, do you also have information of hotels and flights opening back up in El Salvador and Costa Rica?
Okay, that's Angela. That I know, the airport is not revealing the information yet, but definitely there has been discussion with the Prime Minister about opening the airport. I don't have the official to share it with the group today. I hope to have something by Monday, but definitely they are looking in the next 2 months about the airport. We still are monitoring it. As you know, this COVID situation is very fluid. We are monitoring the United States, and 65% of the bookings come from the US. So it's very important that we monitor and see what's happening there. Most of the flights are coming out of Houston, Miami, Dallas, and we know what's happening in New York. So a lot of most of our guests come from LA and from New York. Those are our very high amounts of guests that come to Belize. And we know what's happening with those 2 destinations. So definitely we're looking at the rapid testing that the Prime Minister mentioned today. We're working on protocols, and that's one of the things that I want to share with the industry. The Belize Hotel Association is working on a protocol of how to open your hotel tomorrow. When we open tomorrow, which the Prime Minister has agreed that we can open hotels tomorrow, it's not going to be the same operations as what we did yesterday. You know, how do we check in someone? How do we speak to that guest over the counter? How do we hand over a key? How do we receive money from that guest? How do we give him a bill? How are your cleaners going to be cleaning your rooms? Cleaners are going to be needing to use masks, gloves. So all of this, the Belize Hotel Association is at this moment working on a protocol, and we should have that protocol ready to go next week, which we will be sharing with the industry. So it's very important before we open the hotels to make sure that everyone is paying attention to the policies and protocols that you need to abide by. I mean, I'm just thinking of somebody coming in from the airport and need to be transported to San Ignacio Hotel, for example, and having to go on a van with air condition. As you know, this disease, sometimes it does not present itself during those 14 days, but they're shedding the virus from day one. So there's protocols that will be needed to to be applied by. And so definitely we're looking at all of that before we open. What was the other question, Angela?
That was second.
Okay, thank you for answering that. The other question was from Mr. Odon. He asked, it's pertaining to the travel trends to Central America from a global origin with regards to the flights. What is the actual conversion of those percentages into number of searches?
Conversion versus searches, very low, Angela. Listen, what we need to realize is during the past 45 days, that curve of searches is going down. And by going down, also is taking bookings down because the correlation is right there, right? Now, we only presented air in this presentation, only air tickets, right? Because that comes first. Nothing is going to happen until the e-commerce for airlines reopen, right? And what we are experiencing now is cancellations or changes. Cancellations or changes. The same for hotels. So once that activity restarts, and we are thinking for some airlines, American Airlines today announced the reopening of a lot of routes to Latin America, including Central America. I didn't read about the list, but over there were Colombia, Costa Rica, and some other markets in Central and South America, right? So it's very important to keep in mind that until we have some kind of recovery in searches for air, we are going to start seeing conversions for hotels. And so it's very early at this moment to kind of predict what is going to be the percentage of conversion. But for hotels that advertise for us using our platforms, that conversion rate is very high. A lot of hotels and hotel companies are very happy with what they see with our tools and with our engine.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for that response. We have another question from David. If we are interested in talking with Sojourn with Office, or who exactly do we reach out to for Belize property, and can you give an indication of pricing for a small property?
Gotcha.
Yes, you can. Of course, we are going to share our email address. You can contact or send me an email, and I can schedule a call. Here you have our contact info. We can schedule a call, talk about your needs, your property, where you are, who you are, and then we can have a very good option for you and to help you, especially during this time. It's important you are in front of the potential customer. Send me an email, and it's going to be more than a pleasure to schedule a call with you.
Okay,
Thank you, Sasha.
let's see one more question here. From Catherine, what is the percentage of hotels in Belize that will open June 1st?
Okay, I'm going to take that question. In terms of hotels in Belize that will open, as I said, the Prime Minister announced today that they will be allowing hotels to open in Belize as of tomorrow. One of the things, it's going to be an individual decision. For example, here I have 90 rooms, and if I know I'm going to be selling 3 rooms per day, it's not necessarily I need to open all my rooms, because it's going to be more costly to have the light. You have to have the lobby, the lights of the hotel, the running water, the hot water operational for one guest as if it's for 3 or for 90 guests. So that is a decision by hotel. I can tell you that there is a huge market in Belize that can afford and does have a lot of local market. At this moment, you have to consider that none of the borders nor the airport is being open. So the only travelers that are going to be traveling are corporate business and local Belizeans. And I do know that we have been locked down for the last over 30 days. So there's a lot of Belizeans out there that have the disposable income to travel, and not only have the disposable income, but at this moment want to get out and visit Placencia, Kikaker, San Ignacio. So it's by hotel. We also have corporate business. The businesses need to visit their different distribution points. Bowen and Bowen, BL, the government announced today that BL is doing a lot of checking of their light lampposts, and they need rooms in these areas. So reach out to these companies and see if they have business for your area.
Okay.
I see there another question there. What about the water taxi? Are they open? I am sure in the next couple of minutes, the AG is going to be on board, who's going to be sharing with us what are the additional businesses that will be allowed to open. The Prime Minister did announce about the buses running and the inter-districts being open. So with that, I believe that he's going to open the water taxi, but let's wait for the AG to announce it before we proceed with that. And if there's no other questions, I just want to summarize from the Belize Hotel Association that the Belize Hotel Association is working on the hotel, which will the government on relief. And I'm asking the hoteliers, if you have ideas of how the government can help you and help us to open our business, incentives that you believe that we can go to the government, please send it to the Belize Hotel Association, to Alicia. The government has asked us for a list. We have previously sent them a list, but they have come back and asked us for a new list. So I'm asking anyone, please send it to Alicia so that by the end of tomorrow, we should be sending that list to the government. We know that the relief program has been closed at this moment. The Belize Hotel Association is going to be calling your office to find out if there's any of your employees that needs help. We will be distributing some chicken next week. We need to know the names of employees that need desperate help so that we can help you with that. There was a question about restaurants. The government is not opening the restaurants at this moment. The only one they're allowing you is to go food. And let me share with you that here at the Biltmore, we partner with a company in Belize who is a member of the Belize Hotel Association. Their name is eData. And we came up with an online to-go selling of food. And I can tell you that it is surprising the amount of food that people are ordering to go. So I would recommend, at this moment, you cannot open your restaurant to sell in the hotel, but you can do to-go food. Partner with somebody like that. Create an app, especially I see the opportunity in San Pedro and Kikaker, where many of the times that you go and the restaurants were full. This is the opportunity. You can order to go and come to the restaurant, pick it up, and take your food. We will also be having another webinar next week with the former labor commissioner to answer all your questions that you might have concerning labor, and updating you as well on the visas that the government has increased as of last week. If there's any other questions, Angela, that we can answer before we say goodbye?
No, I just see another question from Catherine asking, what about inter-island flights? So I'm assuming they're asking about the availability of those flights from those service providers.
I did not call Tropic to find out when they will be open. Right after this this webinar, we will be updating our members. We will be reaching out to Tropic and to find out when they will open. We will be sharing that information with all our members. And we will also be on Love FM on Monday. The Belize Hotel Association will be on Love FM to give more updates. As you know, this is very fluid. The information is very fluid. And so we are definitely working by minute, by the day. The Hotel Association has been in touch with many different parties to find help for all our hoteliers.
Okay. And I see one more question here from Jenny saying that she paid for her 2020 license for BTB and local licenses such as liquor licensing. Will they be extended to 2021?
Perfect. That's a perfect question that we will have to send. The Belize Hotel Association has a seat on the Belize Tourism Board. And so definitely those are the questions that we will be taking to government. Those are the questions that we need by the members to send it to us so that we can take it to the different entities and find help for our members. So Jenny, please, we will get back to you on that. Definitely. Alicia is going to contact and get your information so we can answer that question for you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ted. If you don't have any questions for the panel, then it looks like we're going to end here. Thank you all for logging in. Thank you, Mr. Raul, Ms. Sasha, Mr. Ted, Alicia, and everyone at home who joined us for this afternoon. I hope that you find the presentation useful, and we do look forward to a bright future looking forward. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Alicia?
No, I just want to thank you all once again. Thank you, Raul and Sasha, for your dedicated time and expertise. Thank you as well, Mr. Tejada. Once again, we look forward to seeing you all next week for a webinar. I'll be sending the email to you guys on Friday, well, tomorrow. So I want to wish everyone a wonderful Thursday evening.
Thank you so much.
You.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.